Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having fun so far on your drumming journey this season. Today we're going to be talking about multi-bounce strokes. Okay, I know the lesson one we talked about the bounce stroke, where everything is a nice full stroke, it bounces up. Lesson two we were talking about the downstroke, so it's basically stopping the stick down. All right. Multiple bounce strokes is about a full stroke that we let it bounce multiple times. Sounds pretty simple, right? So instead of one, we're letting it bounce twice. One thing you're going to need to know is the fingers start to play a part in this, okay? Up until now, everything we play is just wrist stroke, all right? But now with the multiple bounce stroke, it's going to be like wrist and a little bit of finger. So it's like bump, 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 bump. A little bit of that finger action there. So go ahead and take a second, kind of flex your fingers there. In the traditional grip, still it's kind of with the thumb, a little bit of this motion, right? And so you make a stroke and then you use your fingers for the rest of it. So you, as opposed to, does that make sense? Cool. The first exercise we're going to do to kind of get into multiple bounce things and getting used to bouncing the stick, especially with a little bit of finger, is on page 57, okay? So turn with me to page 57. We're going to start this at 85 BPM, and here we go. We're going to keep it down low, okay? Be sure we're using wrist and finger, okay? Wrist and finger, a little bit together. Here we go. 1, 2, 1 E and a 2 E and a ready and a go. So that's the idea with that. I'm sure that was probably a little tough for some of you. It wasn't that easy for me, honestly. So we need to turn it down, probably maybe 75 or even 70 BPM. Do whatever's comfortable for you and then work the speed up. You want to get this thing up to about maybe 110. And that way you're cooking along and getting used to pumping those fingers. Cool? All right, that's the first exercise. The next one I would say we need to check out is page 16. Let's go check that out. Page 16, the multiple bounce variations. That sounds right. Yep. And we're going to check this out at 100 BPM to start out with. Since it's shorter, it's a little easier to. You don't have to focus so much on endurance like the last exercise. This one we can go a little faster because it's just a maximum of 5 notes instead of whatever that's 16, 32, probably 32 notes or 64 notes at a time. Anyways. Here we go, multiple bounce variations. We're going to play it kind of the same height, the same way. Nice and low, using wrist and finger with it, okay? Here we go, 100 BPM. 1, 2, 1, 2. Don't rush like I did. One thing about this is the last note of each grouping, you want to let it bounce up, not hold it down. So it's like 1 E and a 2 and a 3 and, right? Up, up. You don't want to go 1 E and that's 2, 3 and Does that make sense? You don't want to stop down. You want it to bounce up. The whole exercise is about bouncing up, okay? That's a really good one to go from 5s to 3s to 2s, and then a combination of 1s and 2s. We'll be playing that one a lot. Cool. Another exercise that's real similar. Let's turn to page 60, Sanford double beat. It's kind of an old school exercise, but you know, some of these things are just hard to improve upon because they're so good at working certain things. This one is mainly concentrated on doubles and triples. And I would say let's go ahead with this exercise. Let's go ahead and start playing it at a full stroke height. Right, let the thing bounce up, full wrist turn. You're still going to start using a little bit more finger with it for that second partial. It's mainly like, I would say like 90% wrist on the first stroke with like 10% finger. And then you'll notice you'll have to, on the second partial, you're going to have to use more fingers. So maybe like, let's just say 60% wrist and 30 or 40% finger for the second partial. So it's more like a wrist, finger, wrist, finger, wrist, finger. Okay? Here we go. We'll check this one out. Yeah, we can do this at 100 as well. And let's play it up a little higher. And play along with me. Sanford double beat, page 60. You'll notice on now, especially as you play a higher height, you have to really struggle and fight to keep the stick bouncing up. Up, 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 up. You know, letting those notes really bounce up, and you'll notice, especially even by that third partial on the triplet, and on the triple beat, you know, it's like wrist and some of both, and then even more finger. It's like as you go along multiple notes, you start using more and more finger to try to make that work. Especially as you go faster. You get to a point where it's, you know, and you're using a lot of finger at that point, okay? So I guess today we're talking about multi-bounce, but we're really talking about wrist and finger together on our strokes, okay? That one is a really classic 16th note based, you know, double beat, multiple bounce exercise. Every one of them we've done so far has been duple based. But now let's check out page 61. It's going to be called Irish Spring. And what's good about this one is it starts to work us in a triplet feel, okay? Let's see. We'll turn the meta. We'll start at like 125. That's not very fast, but it'll get us going. And then we're starting to work more in a triplet. You know, 95% of everything we play is either going to be duple based, 1N, 2N, 3N, 4N, or triplet based. One kata, pakata, pakata, pakata. Has more of a rounded feel, okay? This is one of those that is more of a triplet-based exercise, and you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, cool. Let's check out Irish Spring. The approach is exactly the same as far as wrist and finger. One thing I like about it is that it puts the second partial on the downbeat. So it's like 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, and you should play it that way. You don't want it to be boom, ba boom. You know, not a. You want it to be bop, ba 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 ba, not ba, 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 ba. You want to emphasize the downbeat, okay? Be sure to emphasize that. Let the stick bounce up. Let's try it. 125 BPM. Here we go. 2, 1, 2. Hey, yeah, here we go. Yo, check it out. The last bar changes to duple. My bad. So the last two bars, you got triple lit, 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 boom. Okay? Let's check it out. Let's check out the last two bars. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. 2, let's do that again. 1, 2. Yeah, do it one more time like that. Cool. The way to break down that last bar where it does the triplet duple thing is think about it beat to beat, not hand to hand. So triple that down. And then you add on a couple of beats. Alright. Then you go to like beat 4, play beat 4. Let's see, that would be it ends with a double right. Right? Have that triplet in your head, right? And then you can just finish it out. Hope that makes sense. That's definitely the way to approach that. Slow it down if you need to, and then speed it up because you must. Let's go. The last exercise we're going to check out today is Shade Tree. Well, it's probably called double strokes in y'all's book. Page 23. Let's go to page 23 right quick. And on page 23, it's called double strokes and in the middle of the page. But the nickname for it is Shade Tree. It's kind of what everybody knows it as. There is one thing about this exercise that's a little different. We play it as written for the 8 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then what we do is we add another 8 bars of just doubles. Okay? So it's like at the end of the exercise. Right? Then we add 8 bars of 16-note doubles. 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E, 3 E, 4 E, for 8 bars. Sorry. So what I just played was 4 of that. You'll play along with me and you'll understand it. This one is the basis for really starting to apply doubles into rolls. Okay, because we want to play the double strokes and all that stuff and make it sound good. But the whole point of that is so that we actually build up our rolls, so that we have good solid doubles. Right. That's the goal, is to play cool, fast rolls, because, man, that's where the fun happens. All right, here we go. Let's play Shade Tree, or as your book calls it, double strokes, on page 23. We'll start this at 110, but you may want to, we'll definitely, you can speed this up. I think our group ends up playing it like 200 eventually. Like, it's just one of those that it's not that hard once you get in the rhythm of it. You can play really fast. So let's do it at 110. Here we go. 2, 1, 2. To hit your sticks together like I keep doing. I guess yay for me trying to keep my beads in the center of the stick, or in the center of the head, but I also keep nicking the beads, and that's kind of annoying. You can hear it. So be sure you're not doing that, but also, on your pad, be sure you're not traveling. You want your pad, you want it to be set up in the middle. Be sure you're not doing some kind of wonky thing. You want both the beads in the center, but preferably without hitting the tips together like I just did. Does that make sense on the rolls? Adding those 8 bars, it gives us a lot of repetitions on just playing rolls. Rolls are not that hard. It's just you got to get a lot of them done. It's like anything. The more reps you do of something, the better you're going to be. So we add 8 bars of rolls so that we'll be better at rolls. Real simple. One last thing. Let's see. What were we doing last time? I know we've been talking about the single beat combinations, okay? So let's be sure to keep doing that. I got page 8. Let's see. So go to page 8. Alright, yeah. So now we're on page 8 of the single beat combinations. Be sure you're hitting those. You know, it doesn't have to be fast. You know, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Wasn't it like the number 1, right, left, left, all these different combinations of stickings are going to help you, okay? So be sure to check on page 8. Drive all of those down. Play like 2 or 3 minutes of each one of those. And it's really going to help you in the future when we start getting our show music and stuff, which, you know, we got to start thinking about pretty soon. So, anyways, thanks, guys. Post your videos in the comment section, and I'll see you soon, hopefully. Bye.